It's August and it's time for the Deschutes County Fair here in Central Oregon. I am at the very top of the Ferris wheel with my daughter Madeline, waiting for it to kick into full gear and spin us around until we're absolutely nauseous and wanting to get off. But until then, I want to welcome you to today's episode of A Body in Progress.
Previously on A Body in Progress.
Yeah, so what I waited until we need to move right along now to August. At this year's fair, I spent most of my time on the camera crew, where we were broadcasting the news live from the fair. My wife and kids came by with some ice cream to mock me. My son got his first paying job, temp job, as a cleanup crew for the fair. But when the work is over and it's time to have fun, my big weakness at the fair is the food. The Deschutes County Fair takes place every August, and normally I'm not very involved at all, but as you saw this year, I actually had work at the fair with the news crew every day, and then my kids had things entered in the fair, and we just had many, many reasons to be there, so it meant a lot of busy days, not a lot of gym time, so there were days where I just had to count my exercise as maybe going for a 30-minute walk after I was done with the news crew, just wandering around the fair and enjoying things. It was pretty low impact. It was the bare minimum for counting in my journal, but sometimes that's what you've got to do, and it's better than nothing. And so, with that, welcome to Part 2 of the Summer of the Big Tiger 2019, where I'm happy to report there is a lot less jogging. I sat down to check the last episode, make sure it was ready to call done, make sure it was ready to publish and upload and present to the public, and I realized just how much jogging there was. So I've severely pared that down. In fact, I don't have much footage at all from August and September as far as my fitness life. I have one workout in August, and I have one shot from a workout in September. Let's go ahead and go to the August one. It was a squat workout. I've had some feedback to footage of me doing squats earlier this summer, Some of the people watching it saying it looked like perhaps I was bending my back too much. I was allowing my back to absorb the weight instead of my legs. The squat, of course, is supposed to focus on the legs, and you don't want to injure the back by bending it over too much and letting that weight really press down on you. So for one of these lifts today, I'm going to do it with my shirt off, just so we can see the back. You can see it's kind of gross, but how much the abdomen gets in the way. Really just see all of my posture as good as possible. And hopefully then I can take that, maybe get some feedback from those same people, and educate myself and then educate you on what I'm either doing right or wrong. It's entirely possible I need to make some corrections in my squat form. Fair warning, this is not pretty. Much to your chagrin, I'm going to pause right here and take a look at my posture and form. And maybe it's because I was concentrating on it more due to people having offered me feedback, but I don't see a big problem at this point. My upper leg, the hamstrings and quads, have reached parallel to the floor, so I'm definitely going low enough. Some people advocate going all the way down so that the quadriceps, the upper leg there, is actually tilted toward the floor more. But horizontal is at least mandatory. And then the upper back, of course, it's hard to see with the dumbbell or the barbell plates in the way, but I don't see a huge issue here with the back arching too much, with myself bending forward too much. So maybe the key is to, really tell myself, hey, the world is watching, and they might tell me my form is bad, and then maybe my form will be good. Maybe I'll be paying the mandatory attention to it. I don't know. My bare minimum is 230 for one, if I want to be on target for wrapping up 2019 in the 315 club for the squat. Knocked my camera over. And this is the shot that got me an encounter with Bend, Oregon's Boys in Blue. I had finished up the squat workout, I headed outside, I noticed that the summer air was fantastically warm. I also noticed there were no cars in the parking lot at this little shopping area. All of these store lights appeared to be off. And so I thought, let's get something cinematic. Let's just get some kind of cool, strut your stuff kind of finale to the workout for whatever use later. And so I set up the camera and I kind of did it one way and didn't like it, and I did it another way and didn't like it, and I think about the fourth time is the one you see there. And right there, I noticed somebody moving in one of the storefronts. A manager had stayed late for some reason. I quickly turned around, got out of his view, but yes, there was a car I had not seen and lights that I had not seen. And I thought, okay, let's move the shot to some other part of the shopping area. I moved over to another part where that storefront could not see me, and I double-checked. All of the other storefronts were closed. And I set up to do another one because I have the full moon in the background, and it was all set to go when 2 cop cars pulled in. Yes, the store manager had called the cops. He had seen this guy walking around the parking lot. And, to be fair, from his perspective, there was this guy in the parking lot going from here to here to here to here to here to here, and at one point even taking off his shirt. So he called the police. The police said he described it as looking like somebody might have been carrying a baseball bat. Well, that was my tripod. But, I explained to them exactly what was going on, and that I was just being cinematic, and they said, okay. And off they went. So, anyway. All right, I said I had a shot from a September workout, and here it is. So there's that, which leads to summer camp. From 1999 to 2014, I was the video producer at a summer camp in Washington, not counting the summer of 2000 where I had just gotten married and my new bride did not want to honeymoon at a summer camp. Anyway, in 2019, they had their 40th anniversary and they wondered if I would come back up and participate, so I did. Not wanting to fall behind or fall too far behind in my strength progress, I did bring along a magazine that I had purchased about body weight exercises, as well as my set of dumbbells, and I planned to get just a little bit of exercise done there. I ended up being a lot busier than I expected, and so really didn't get much done. I did get some push-ups done, but even those, not as much as I had planned, because in the cabin I was in, the walls of each individual room are very, very thin. You could hear anything right through them, and so I really didn't want to be up late at night doing a bunch of push-ups and grunting and sweating and causing my fellow cabin mates to wonder what was going on in there. One of the camp's annual traditions is that on Wednesday of that week, about 6:30 a.m., they have a 3K run. It's just about 6:30 on the morning of August 7th, 2019. We're here at Mayfield Lake Youth Camp for the annual 3K run at Camp Northwest. Now, the last time I worked at Camp Northwest and ran this race, I was still in my 30s. I was 39, almost turning 40, and I got a time that I think was somewhere in the 16-minute range, maybe even 15. I don't fully remember. I do not expect to get that kind of time today. It's been quite a while, but we'll see what happens. Your stopwatch is not... I finished today at 17:29, according to my watch. According to the official timekeeper's watch, it was 17:30, but I'm going to claim inaccuracies until we can compare both of them to the atomic clock. Anyway, I have done better, but it felt good to be back up here doing that after 5 years. And 17:29 or even 17:30, I do not consider a bad time after a 5-year absence. I actually beat the camp founder and president. Of course, he's also in his 60s, but I think that was the first time I beat him. I will also be officially retiring the Endura hoodie that they gave me years ago because it is now officially a mess and full of holes. And now even the last of the walkers have dispersed. It is time for us to go get ready for breakfast and the rest of Wednesday here at Camp Northwest. I'm Brian Johnson reporting for A Body in Progress. On Friday, I finally found myself with some free time and decided to do something I have not done in over a decade: canoeing. I spent 30 minutes out on the canoe, so I counted that as my exercise for the day. It was not particularly intense rowing just because I had my $1,000 camera in the front of the boat and didn't really want to lose it into the water for any reason. But even at the casual low intensity that I was rowing, on Saturday I did feel it. If you want a good exercise, get out in a canoe and paddle for all you are worth, like your life depends on it, for 30 minutes. That is a fantastic compound exercise, and your body will feel it the next day. Which brings us to Saturday, August 10th, where this happened. The last thing I'm going to do here on Saturday, they're all up the hill packing up, and I have come down here to do my 50 push-ups for the state of Washington. That goes back to the personal goal I set for myself, just kind of the for fun one, of doing 50 push-ups in 50 states by the time I turn 50. I was actually hoping to do Oregon first, and I guess technically I've done a couple thousand push-ups in Oregon this year already. But in keeping with the spirit of this challenge, in going out and doing those 50 push-ups somewhere scenic, interesting, notable, I just haven't done that in Oregon yet. They've all been pretty much, right there in my house, some of them at the gym. So Oregon will actually have to be the second place, even though that's the state I actually live in. I'm doing Washington now because I don't know when I'll be back. And so, here we go. I am on the shores of Mayfield Lake at the Mayfield Lake Youth Camp, and I'm going to go out on the pier and do 5 sets of 10 push-ups before heading back up to head back home. Some of my friends who follow me on Facebook and other social media will recall that I started a 50 push-ups in 50 states project in 2018. I had gotten through Oregon and Washington, but then when I started this official video series, since I live in Oregon and Washington is close enough to get to just about any time I want to, I decided to go ahead and start it over in 2019 so that all 50 states are thoroughly documented. So anyway, here is Washington. And with that, state number 1, Washington, is in the books for 50 push-ups. One down, 49 to go.